What is happening in the world of Solana? We are seeing the fallout of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, and Solana has not gone unscathed. It is the chain that is on conversation for today, and we're going to talk about the ecosystem as well as one of the OG projects from the Solana ecosystem. We've brought on the partnerships director to talk about the future of the project, the future of Solana, and everything. And is this the moment that people have actually been waiting for? Is this Solana's ETH moment of 2018? Is this the time to be buying into the ecosystem, into the NFT projects? Because this could be a once in a lifetime opportunity, or is the end near for Solana and its ecosystem? We're going to cover all of this and more in today's show, only here on Goats and the Metaverse, and none other than my esteemed colleague Stanley. How are you, my friend?
I am living the dream. I am in deep conversations with Netflix right now to play an extra in the Sam Bankman-Fried story. I couldn't get the head role, but I'm in deep conversations with Hollywood to be an extra in the Netflix series.
I would back you as an extra. Yeah, you have my votes. You have my votes.
I appreciate it. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to Nicky. I'm excited to hear his take on where Solana is going, market overview. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about the market. Drum roll, please.
Market is tough. Market is tough. ApeCoin, $2.88. I remember not so long ago we were talking about it hitting $26. Solana, $13.89. All-time high was around $270. So $13.89. That is painful. And Ethereum holding strong at $1,197. Still down, but holding strong, bleeding the least out of the three there. Pretty interesting to see ETH not go sub 1,000 with everything that is going on here. I take that as actually pretty bullish for Ethereum. But pretty much tough on the coin markets. What's happening in the NFT markets today?
Everything is up, but literally 2 days ago, Bored Ape Yacht Club was sitting below 50 Ethereum.
Yeah.
So you could have bought an ape for like 60 grand, I believe it was. Fast rewind to May, $450,000. And one thing that I think is very, very interesting, I know you have a big smile on your face about this, CryptoPunks is on top. They are finally on top. And when BAYC fell to 50, they stayed steady at 65, 66, which, the OG stays true. And let's talk.
You know what they say in these kind of markets? There's a flight to safety. Are CryptoPunks the safe asset in this market? That's what the speculation's at. I'm just trying to figure out what was going on with Bored Apes, that there was such a downward pressure and now on a rebound. I know there was some Bendao Bored Apes that were in a lending pool that were up for grabs and a lot of volatility around that. But if you were a clever trader and bullish, you could have made yourself, a good 30% swing in 24 hours trading apes. So pretty impressive there. Good to see that there is still some movement in the market and that things are moving despite the tough coin market, with what we've seen with Solana taking such a hit and such a dive with FTX announcement. We've also saw today that Genesis saying that they're pausing lending and withdrawals from their platform. So we haven't seen the end of the FTX effect yet, but our shiny JPEGs seem to be holding strong.
Good old JPEGs. Well, let's bring on Nicky. Let's bring on our guest and talk about those shiny JPEGs. Nicky, what's up, brother? Welcome to Goats in the Metaverse. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me, guys. I am actually doing pretty well considering everything. We got back from Breakpoint in Lisbon middle of last week, right? There was like a day or two where we all had to recover from, one, the trip, and two, all the bearish news. But starting this week, we just got right back into it like nothing happened. So doing pretty well.
So, Nicky, you're strategic partnership manager at Degen Labs, and Degen Ape Academy is one of the first, or even technically could claim to be the first true NFT project on the Solana chain. So you have a long history in the world of Solana, coming off the back of Breakpoint, a lot of enthusiasm and excitement for what was happening in the world of Solana. And then we have this Black Swan event. Actually seeming like not a Black Swan event anymore in the world of crypto, a recurring event in the world of crypto with centralized exchanges. And there were very strong ties between SBF and Solana. Solana getting really heavily hit here in this market. Is it the end of the chain?
Oh, wow. The hard-hitting question is at the end of the chain. Yeah. So as a representative of the entire chain, right, with DAA, of course, absolutely not. The tie is right that FTX, a lot of Solana was held on FTX. They held a lot themselves. I mean, it's just an event where, the biggest Solana whale, right, either has Solana that is now locked up for years in court, or of course, a lot of it that was on there was sold to liquidate, right? Because a lot of Solana users used FTX. So really, it's just, a really large whale going down. It doesn't change anything besides that, the tech, the community, etc. Now it's just that Solana has to make it into the hands of either current community members or, new members. That's really all that has to happen. It's going to take a few months.
We saw Frank Degards from the Degard world tweeting out that, is it time for him to move the community over to ETH? And they got a lot of controversy around it. Are those conversations happening within the Degen Ape Academy dev world, or is it just like we are here, we are committed, and this is the chain that we live on and die on?
I should have known that you guys were going to come with the hard-hitting questions. You're trying to get me in trouble. No, first of all, one thing I want to make clear is, Frank and any other projects making tweets like that, there's a lot of pressure from the community. We feel that as well. I think we do a pretty good job of managing, what is a well thought out, request or community feedback and what is quick emotional responses. Right. I think, Frank posting that was more so just as he's like pontificating, all the quick community alarmism that's happening. But I don't think he was very serious with that. And then, same on our end, Solana is one, it's where we started. It's the community, it's the family. And then also all of the, the tech, right? The Solana native tech that we're working on right now to build out our project simply just wouldn't work as well on ETH. So even if you take out all the emotional connection, et cetera, like it's just an investment, it's a company, you can't think like that. Like our tech runs best on Solana.
So going away from the hard-hitting questions, let's talk about the project then. Tell us, for the people that don't know much about Degen Ape Academy, other than it's one of the first, if not the first NFT project on Solana, tell us a bit about it, what got it to be so exciting, and then we'll go into where to from here and what the plans are.
Of course. So being the first or one of the first, right? There's some controversy behind that. We don't need to get into so much right now. When that happened, we were lucky enough to have a lot of the original Solana holders, right? The OGs, right? People who were buying Solana at under $1, $1, $5, $10, right? So we were able to have, this community that was filled with a lot of very loyal members of the Solana community. A lot of them that are, whales, and, being whales is, a matter of perspective, but we had a lot of great holders that way. So that was off to a great start from the beginning. When we first launched, the sales numbers were incredible, right? There was a lot of sales and transactions happening quickly, but what was most, what really got us, into the news and was really groundbreaking was some of those top sales that were happening in the first 2 months, right? Seeing many sales over 6 figures in US dollars, seeing some go all the way up into the millions, right? And that was what gave the original notoriety and tied us to the chain basically, forever. As long as Solana exists, like so do we, right? But now what it's really developed into is a creative and artistic, goofy community that is just very talented, right? So from all of these OGs, so many talented individuals have identified themselves. They're constantly using our full 3D art to make, either cartoons, or we've seen music, we've seen IRL art, we've seen figures. It's just nonstop, like all the things that are coming from the community. And I think at the core of it all is with all these talent and all these whales that are out there, these are all very serious individuals that are just acting goofy. So we've kind of been able to provide this this arena where these very serious, successful, talented individuals can just act goofy and play around with this fun community, whether it's on our Discord, whether it's on our Twitter, whether it's within our homeroom. It's a chance for people to, you know, let loose and not be their serious, like, successful selves that they usually are. We're not acting like a Degen Ape, right?
And Nicky, I have a question. I mean, I always kind of wondered this, like, why apes? Why is everyone so attracted to apes? Why is, like, you know, we've seen all different types of animals
Yeah.
in the NFT space, but like for some reason apes work, right? And we've seen derivatives of Bored Ape Yacht Club, we've seen a bunch of different things, and like, you know, apes are the ones that really work. What is there, like, logic behind it? Is there some sort of inside info of like, why do they work better than everybody else?
So what I'd say is it's not as complex as you might think, right? So Bored Ape Yacht Club launched in May. You know, we were, you know, the first big collection to come out in August, right? This is well over a year ago now. So at the time, you know, the Ape NFT thing wasn't really a thing, right? We were the first one to do it on Solana and the second notable one to ever do it, right? And, you know, no one had done gorillas before. Bored Ape Yacht Club is more like chimpanzees, right? And we did gorillas. I've talked, you know, our founder Mono, when he talks about it, there was certainly inspiration that came from there. And then, of course, you know, him being a, you know, full 3D rendered artist, you know, he did his take on what a full body gorilla would look like, and then just doing a screenshot of that. But then why everyone from there continuing to do monkeys and gorillas and chimpanzees? I think it's likely because it's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. You know, I think people are seeing the success that these collections had. Without throwing shade at anyone, I do think it's a little corny to keep doing the same thing over and over. I think even NFTs as like a PFP project, I think the whole idea was it was supposed to start with that. Like, it's like starting with these cartoon animals, right? Whether it was the gorilla or chimpanzee or something else, and then develop into more and more than that. But I think people saw past success with these projects and continue to try to, you know, replicate it while not doing exactly the same thing to, you know, try to replicate the success. But yeah, that's not how I envision this to keep going over the next few years. I think it needs to change off of, you know, just PFP projects.
So let's talk more about that, as far as, you know, kind of, you guys been around for over a year, you're developed, you know, you're the partnerships director, right? So you guys are a legitimate company with legitimate employees, and I'm assuming you're growing a brand. What's the plan? What's the roadmap? And even though I hate using that word, but like, what are you guys planning to do that's going to kind of be different and continue to evolve the brand?
Yeah, great question. And first, to address the word roadmap, is we hate it also. We never put anything out there. You know, sometimes the community doesn't love that. But just like any other tech or brand company, and for us being a combination of the two, we have to remain agile. And we can't, you know, Apple or Google can't put out a roadmap for the next 2 years of everything they're going to do month by month, because they're changing what they're doing month by month, you know. And us, as a much smaller company than that, have to be even much more agile than them. You know, the market's constantly changing, what's possible is constantly changing, etc. But where's the vision from here? It really is building out that brand, right? Which is, you know, where I come in on partnerships, you know, as well, with the support of the team, especially creative, right? It's linking the, you know, the physical and digital world, right? We have to get that part done. So working with, you know, partners that are outside of Web3 to try to introduce, you know, new people to this exciting realm, and kind of for these new consumers to understand like why we're so in love with this community. And then along with that roadmap would be, you know, the technology side, right? We need to have tech, we need to have gamification, we need to have things that other projects can utilize from us, right? And there needs to be a reason to be interacting with our, you know, our world that's built on Solana on a daily basis. This shouldn't just be an asset that, you know, is just sitting in your cold storage wallet that you look at every 6 months, or people that who are interacting with it every day are just trading the floor. Like, we don't want that. These are fun, fully rendered characters. This should be you should be interacting, weekly at a minimum, right? And that's what we're currently working on the technology side, to provide that kind of gamified experience where this is not just a cold wallet asset.
You mentioned that you want to link in real life experiences to the digital, and we saw Nike come out yesterday with the dot swoosh platform, and this whole idea of physical and digital coming together. Is that a trend that you think is going to continue seeing for more and more of these kind of PFP projects? And if you guys are taking the lead there, what does that actually mean? What does that translate to in terms of linking the physical and digital? And how should people start thinking about this as they look at these types of projects?
So first I'll answer, is it a trend? The answer to that is, I think the trend is just going to be starting now and then really take off, as the market begins to improve. We were, yes, one of the first to start working on this. I would say who gets the original credit would be Artifact, who we love very dearly. We definitely like the vision that they have. And they were truly the first, to pioneer the idea of, linking Web 2 and Web 3 that way. So now where it's going from here with us, and how we envision it, right? How we want to do this linkage is, like I said, working with partners that already have, loyal fans and consumers, etc., and having them get, whatever their physical product is that's in high demand, but also providing, the digital asset that's with it, and really beginning to train is the wrong word, but it's introduce these consumers to what it's like to own something digitally, right? Because they already understand what it's like to have their own Instagram page. They understand what it's like to have their own website. They understand what it's like to, own music, right? But they don't actually own any of these things. My favorite example is, I'm a gamer, right? I love to play Xbox. I like to play Call of Duty, Halo, etc. And when I've spent as much as $20 on a skin before, which is ridiculous, right? The new game comes out, it doesn't carry over. You don't own it. They can take it away at any time. If there's a glitch with that skin, they can take it right off and you don't get your money back. This idea of digital ownership is what we need to, especially on the Solana side, we need to start showing off and explaining. And the first time that someone, buys something from a brand that they truly love, and they get a digital asset with that, and they're able to start playing with it and, seeing what the value of it is, right? And that's when they'll first start to, get the hook and get why that's important, right? And that's part of our job, as one of the original projects on Solana, to try to onboard people in that way.
So, I mean, I think you're 100% right. I think digital ownership is the future. I don't think that's going anywhere. But I guess I would argue the point of right now, or like, I think being in this space for the last year and a half, talking to some people about NFTs, they laugh in your face, right? They JPEGs on the internet. And when you're kind of like, I bought something for, $5,000 and now it's worth 20, you kind of have a leg to stand on, and you could say, listen, I bought this for X, now it's worth Y. But now you're going to a place where
I bought this for 20, it's worth 5.
Yeah, I bought it for 20, it's worth $2, right? So now you're kind of going into a space where I think it's very, very, very extremely difficult to have that conversation with people. And I agree with you with the skins argument. I agree with you with, saying that this is real and that you own it and there's authenticity to it. But do we need more than that? Are we kind of at a point where the technology just needs to be even almost more sophisticated, or what brands are offering, what NFT projects are offering, just has to be way more out there for people to buy in, right? And I mean, like we talk about it on the show all the time, like Nike doing what they're doing, Starbucks doing what they're doing. Like people are now, using the blockchain, using, the rewards program with Starbucks, and they don't even know they're getting an NFT, right? Down the line, they probably will, and there'll be some education behind that. But how do we bridge that gap, right? How do we make it like, more day to day?
So first off, to address the, the idea of how we used to say, oh, I bought this for 5, now it's worth 20, and now it's the opposite, right? It wasn't cool when we were showing it off on the winning end, and it's not cool to talk about it on the losing end either. I think that for regular consumer, the idea of a $20,000 digital product is very corny, right? In the same way that, a graded comic book or a sports card or a Pokemon card worth 20,000 to 50,000 is also corny, right? The only people who are going to truly appreciate and admire that is your mega fans, which we'll always have, right? And any product is always going to have that, like your high end, but that's the way we need to start thinking about that, because the group is small, right? If you have 10,000 whales or 10,000 mega fans, that's pretty normal for, having more than that wouldn't be expected. The people who are willing to spend $100,000 on the digital image, right? But the things don't need to, for a regular consumer, it doesn't need to be worth $50,000, right? The idea of, buying a sweatshirt from your favorite brand, right? And then for us, we use something called Cupcake Protocol, right? It's again, some tech that one of our partners has developed that we're using in everything going forward. But the chip is sewn right into the sweatshirt, right? You put your phone up to it, you scan it, it makes a wallet for you right on your phone, right? And now you have that digital asset. They don't need the digital asset to go from $500 to $60,000, right? If they spent $150 on the hoodie, and they're able to go on and see that it's worth $30 to one of our holders that wants to have one of everything, right? That's huge for them. Like I just wanted the hoodie, you know what I mean? I just wanted the t-shirt. And now you're telling me that this digital item that I truly own is worth $30. The company doesn't get that. That's a great way to start. Again, I don't like the word, but to start training people or getting people used to what it is to have digital ownership.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So what you guys are doing is you can buy some digital merch and physical merch. And by buying the physical merch, you will get a digital NFT using the Cupcake protocol that you can link to that physical merch. And if people want to trade the digital NFT of the merch, they can. It may have value in the market, it may not. But in essence, you're enabling this kind of authenticity and provenance of the items that are in the physical world with a digital NFT, and that may give people future things that come with it.
Yeah, exactly. And you've already seen some examples of this in the Web 2 world, right? There's plenty, and again, in the video game world, there are plenty of, there's toys or objects or clothing that you can buy that will have a QR code that you scan that give you whatever, a double XP bonus or some sort of costume to add on to your Halo character, right? So this is just taking that and bring it to the next step, which is that digital ownership. So they already know how to scan a QR code. Right now, all we're saying is there's no QR code, right? It's a chip that's built in. You scan it with your phone, right? And now you actually own that asset, and you can use it in our our gamified world, or just sell it. You own it, right? Halo doesn't own it, right? Xbox doesn't own it. You own it.
How much is that? What if someone's thinking about doing this with their merch or any of their products? What does a chip go for?
Oh, like just the Cupcake chip to scan?
Yeah.
What does it go for? Like if we were to the actual physical piece?
Yeah, are we talking cents on the dollar? Or are we talking about dollars? Like just to get a sense of
I'll say that it's without getting too much into the logistics of how we're putting together merch and the exact cost of everything. It's very non-expensive, to get these very small. Basically, you can get them into stickers. They're so small, right? That's how we were doing them originally. Is just like we had our party in Lisbon, for instance, we stuck them in stickers on the wall and people were able to scan and get stuff from that. So they're very small, very inexpensive. You can throw them in the wash without them getting damaged, right?
Love it. And what is Nicky? What is more beer? I mean, that's been the question that I had.
Oh yeah, from
does more beer actually mean?
So there's not really a lot of secret behind that one. Let me see if we can see it in here. You see that there's other side. I'm getting used to the camera thing. We've got our old beer launch that we did there. I'm just want to continue to hint at our second launch, which is going to be totally different than our first one. Very different product, very different design. That you'll be finding more information out soon. I don't want to. We're working closely with Barrel DAO on that, who we worked with on the first one. I don't want to steal their thunder too much, so it'll be more of a joint announcement. But I figured this was a great opportunity to start hyping that up, as that's something that's coming, in the next few weeks.
And just like not to go to like the bad stuff, but as far as like morale in the community, right, in general, like forget about Solana. I just think, you know, in Web3 right now, how do you keep everybody positive? How do you keep everybody? I mean, people were complaining when they were making too much money. Now they were not happy, right? And like,
Yeah.
how do you keep that morale up, right? How do you kind of stay positive and tell people like, listen, you know, if you bought it on the downswing, things will come back, and this is why.
Yeah, well, I think it's easier than you think. Most people, again, our holders are so OG that most of them see like, and this is going to sound corny again, you know, but one soul equals one soul. Again, because they a lot of them have had it since such low numbers that it doesn't really affect them too much mentally. Like soul goes up and soul comes down, and it'll probably continue to do that for a very long time before, you know, it's more until it's truly universally used, and then it'll probably stay at one number for a while. But until then, it's going to continue to swing up and down, and it doesn't really change everyone here who's either, you know, building on Solana, or for those that are building on Ethereum, right? And then also those that are just here to have fun with the community. Honestly, I mean, if you bought into it, you know, just to have a, you know, release and a group to hang out with, right, and to enjoy our gamified universe, then, you know, having the soul price get cut in half doesn't really affect anything too much. If you're referring to like the morale of, you know, prices in general going down, of course, yeah, of course it hurts. No one loves that, but we have absolutely not seen this massive exit, which actually makes me question like, why did prices go down so much if I'm still seeing, you know, the same 30,000 people interacting and still holding what they have. I said there's you know, a massive whale just got eliminated. A lot of cryptocurrencies were dumped during that, and then people who were not builders on this, but, you know, were casual individuals who had a bunch of money on some of these platforms had to, you know, dump immediately, right, to get it off and sent to ACH. And I think that's what happened, right? The people that are still here building, etc., like morality is fine. It really hasn't changed.
And how is it affecting your core focus as a partnerships director for DegenApe? Are you still seeing that there's strong inbound interest from traditional brands, Web3 brands, Web2 brands, or are they like, we don't want to get involved in this industry now? You know, what does your day job look like now? Is it gotten easier, harder, or is it exactly the same?
So it might get harder. I just don't know yet, because I have a pretty decent list of partners that we're already working with that we're just getting these products rolled out for. And none of them have wavered at all on any of this. They're all still pretty, you know, they're pretty confident in the drops that we're doing together. So that hasn't been an issue. Once I run through that list, that's when I'll find out, you know, if sentiment has changed. But the list of partners that I have that we're planning to do things with is long enough that it, you know, it should be quite a while before I have to start, you know, fishing for new partners. And at that point, yeah, we'll have to see.
Then we'll know. Can you give us a sneak peek of what people should be expecting from some of these partnerships and Degen Ape Academy?
Yes. So the beer one is obvious. The one that's a little bit newer and is going to be like an introduction into, not an introduction, but, you know, one of the first that's integrating this, you know, this cupcake protocol and these digital assets and really starting to gamify our universe. I can't say the name of the brand yet. We're deciding whether we want to save it for Art Basel, because we have a whole event planned around that. We might make the announcement this week and let there be a couple weeks of build up to then. But it's a, you know, it's a notable brand that has, you know, their own fans, their own users. They're not crypto native at all. They're lifestyle brand. It's definitely that hype beast culture. It's very cool and fitting for our community, we believe. And it's going to be exactly as we talked about, right? We're going to have, you know, very high end, you know, prestigious items that we're making with them. And we're going to have, you know, cupcake protocol integrated right into it.
And one last question I have, Nicky, as far as from a business perspective, right? Especially in Solana, we talked about royalties, right? Are royalties staying? Are they going? What's going to be the, you know, what's going to be the new norm? Are we, you know, is it to a point where, you know, you guys are an established brand in the space? Now we have to go raise money, right? Now we have to go the VC route, or we have to figure out other ways to bring in, you know, income to go run our business, right? The model has changed, or is changing, or changing on a daily basis. What's kind of, you know, your outlook of what's going to be the new norm, or what should be the new norm?
Do you want me to address the royalty stuff first or the raising stuff first?
I both. I mean, whichever one you want to tackle. Let's talk about royalties first.
Yeah. So with royalties, our our very public stance on it is kind of like the market's going to market, right? It's capitalism. It's whatever they want to do. At the same time, the idea of royalties is supposed to be built into the smart contracts. It was one of the main draws of NFTs as an asset. But we think the market will correct itself. Like we think that there is some demand for royalties to come back. We don't know when that will be. We've been planning for royalties to be eliminated for months. So again, we hope they come back. Not even just for us. Luckily we're already an established brand with this massive consumer base, and we've had so much success already. But for newcomers to the space, right? For one-of-one artists, or for new projects, or for Web2 brands that want to make it into this space, I think it'll be more attractive if there's royalties there. And like I said, we think the market will correct itself, and those will make their way back. But like I said, until then, we've been preparing for this. We expected this. Yeah. And I think it'll change soon enough. And then on the raising side, there hasn't been there's probably not a worse time to raise than right now, right? If you're trying to raise during the middle of the bear market, it's something we've discussed as a team internally. We've had some conversations with everyone. We've talked to some of our whales, we've talked to some of our holders, we've talked to some notable like Web3 VCs. We're starting to talk to some of the brand VCs. We haven't gotten to the point where we're bringing on significant money to do this yet, but all those conversations have certainly started, right? And we'll have to figure out what's worth it or not worth it on our end.
And do you think that's going to be like the new norm, especially if royalties don't come back, right? Or we continue down this kind of winter bear?
Yeah, well, it's so funny because the raising is the norm with any startup, right? Like any startup is supposed to raise, right? You raise initially, right, to start the company, and then once you have some success, you raise more, right? To build off of the success you already had. We were in a position where we didn't have to raise any money, right? We had enough success off the beginning that we're totally self-funded, off of mint, and then trading and royalties and merch, etc. We've been self-funded up to this point. But yeah, I would agree that with the royalty stuff and the market in certain situations, that a lot of these Web3 brands, NFTs included, will probably have to start to go down a more traditional route, which is, hey, like this is what we've done. This is why we need more capital in order to achieve this, right?
That makes sense. The era of NFT communities being able to solely fund through the sale of NFTs is probably not going to be seen for a little while. Not to say never. It's going to, and other avenues like what you're working on, other partnerships, different ways of bringing in the physical, the digital, to build sustainability into these communities, is what we're going to see more of, and start to see this playing out. There has been some chatter about PFPs and whether, because what we've seen is punks have survived or holding strong because they're the OGs, and they can almost consider them as like classical pieces of art and historical relevance. And you've got some gen art and art blocks and one-on-ones holding value, and the PFP market, overall is pretty much down. But when PFPs first came out, everyone's like, this is the next biggest thing. This is going to change the world. Now everyone's forgotten about it. This is no longer a trend. You're not going to, don't put your money here. PFPs are dead. What's your view?
My view on if they're dead or not, or
is this something that we should expect to continue to see, that PFPs are actually some kind of game-changing new way to build communities, or they're oversaturated, and PFPs are
Okay, I
disappearing.
I can address both parts of that. So the first one, being with everyone, consolidating to the OG projects, as you were like hinting at before, that's totally normal, right? When the market is bad, whether it is the regular traditional markets, or when the market is bad in something brand new and progressive like Web3, everyone is always going to consolidate into what is closest to a stable coin, right? So going to punks and Bored Apes and then Solana, we've seen a ton of volume on our side, and as well as a lot of the OG blue chips. That could be expected because it's the safest, right? When when the market is in a global recession, you don't exactly want to own a bunch of goose coin, right? Or duck coin, right? That doesn't that's not, I guess, not financial advice, but it just, you can see that in anything. And like I said, the traditional markets treat it the same way. And then as for PFP projects, it's time for them to evolve. It was time for them to evolve even before this. I think there was a few months where you could get away with just doing the PFP project, and like I said, we were one of the first, so we were able to do that. But just saying to everyone, oh, like pump this bag and buy the floor and rock your PFPs, like that's not going to cut it, right? That's not going to be something that's adaptable to the real world, and that's not going to onboard 1 billion people, right? You got to keep developing from that. And again, the ownership of digital assets, right, and tying that into the NFTs that you're launching, and all the tech that can be built around that's what's going to onboard the next 1 billion people, not a PFP project that's coming out in a month.
Agreed. Nicky, where can somebody find more information? Where can they follow you? Where give us the 411 on Degen.
Yeah. So the best way to find out, more about me and then more about, Degen Ape Academy would be, you can go right to my Twitter, which is at Nicky Scanz, which is there. They'll have that link tree right there, / Degenerate Ape Academy. You click on there. It will have our website, which links to, Homeroom, which is our gamified tech and gold stars. You can get to marketplaces if you want to purchase, one of our NFTs. You can also get to our Twitter, our Discord, our Instagram. You can find out more about our other collections like Drop Bears on there as well. Clicking on that link tree, and there's no information that won't be answered.
Awesome. Well, Nicky, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. For everybody watching, we hope you guys enjoyed it and got some info. I know I did, and we did hit you with some hard-hitting questions, and we appreciate your honest feedback. And listen, I think that's what's going to move the industry forward, right? If we all kind of sit here and say everything's going to be amazing, it's all rainbows and butterflies, I don't think that's going to attract a lot of new people. I think we got to be authentic and tell people the truth, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm
going to go buy some Solana. This is not financial advice, but I'm just going to go and fill my bags after this.
Boom!
Love to hear it.
First. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you all again soon. Have a great one, everybody.